Everyone. So today we are going to discuss about design of an interior slab. So in the previous class, what we have discussed was a simply supported slab where the ends are free to move upward. But in this case, we are going to design an interior slab. So probably you will understand that the ends are restrained, right? So, and another thing that we're going to discuss today, that how to design a slab whose ends are restrained against lifting upwards. So what does mean actually restrain from lifting upwards? That means if you have a simply supported beam or slab, if the ends are free to move upward, then what will happen that no extra stress will develop in the slab. Okay, so that means that if you see the side view of the slab, it will simply look like this. It will simply move upward. But if you are restricting the movement, that means you are not allowing to move freely at the end, because if this is a slab, if you apply the load at the center, it will obviously move, it will deflect something like this. But the thing is, if you are restricting this movement, that means you are restricting by means the shape of the slab remains flat. In that case, what will happen that extra stresses will develop at the corner, and these stresses are basically nothing but torsional stresses. Okay, so torsional stresses, so you have to take care of the torsion when you have seen in the question that the ends are restrained against lifting upward. Okay, and these torsion reinforcements are basically provided in case of simply supported slabs. Okay, is it clear? Now we are going to discuss about today the interior slab. That means suppose you have the plan, building plan, something like this, where these are basically the exterior slabs, right? Here, suppose this slab is simply supported. In that case, this slab are nothing but the exterior slabs, okay? And this is called interior slab because all the four sides are support or are enclosed, and this slab is enclosed all around by other slabs, okay? So, and if I talk about the condition about suppose this slab is free on two sides. Okay, this is free on two sides but restrained on other two sides. Okay, so if I talk about this side and this side, it is fixed or it is not free, but in the other two side, that means this, suppose the pink color, this portion is free. Okay, two sides are not restrained but the other two sides are restrained, but in this case three sides are restrained. Suppose I'm talking about, suppose this slab. Okay, in that case this one and this ends are restrained, but this another this exterior slab, this portion is not restrained. Okay, this is free. Three sides are restrained. So this is why I'm talking about this. We will see while we will be calculating the moments for the slab. Okay, so that is why you need to understand. Suppose for this slab, two sides are free, two sides are restrained. Here one side is free, three sides are restrained. Here all the this for this slab, all the four sides are restrained. Okay, so this concept is important. And if I talk about interior slab, so this will be considered as the interior slab. Okay, now let's talk about the problem. So design a interior, sorry, this should be N. Design an interior slab to cover a room of with internal dimensions 4 meter by 5 meter. So dimensions are kept same with the previous question. Okay, so interior, so that you can correlate. So interior, the dimensions are 4 meter by 5 meters and is supported over a 230 thick brick wall. Okay, so it is not beam slab system, it is just a simply supported system with a slab dimension, the wall dimensions where it is supported on, it is 230 mm. Okay, so assuming a live load of 3 kilonewton per meter square and a finished load of 1 kilonewton per meter square, using M20 concrete and Fe415 grade of steel, you have to design it. Okay, Now assume mild exposure condition. Now here it's not mentioned that the ends are restrained against moving upwards. So or as it is not mentioned, so you have to just assume it. And here also, from this one also, you will understand that as it's an interior slab, it will obviously not be allowed to move upward. Okay, so it is not going to move upward, so it is interior, as it is interior slab. Okay, so let's look at the datas which are available to us. Yeah. So basically the first steps up to the calculation of the moment, means except for the calculation of the moment. So everything, all the steps are already we have discussed. Okay. All the steps are same. So here FCK is M20, FY is 415, and here short span is 4 meter, right? It is supported over a room of 4 meter by 5 meters, so short span is 4 meter. Then overall depth is 3.5 meter of the span. We can calculate the effective overall depth as 4 by 40. Why I'm taking 40? In the previous class I took 35. Why I'm taking 40 here? Because it's a continuous slab, it's a part of continuous slab, so that is why I'm taking 40. In the initial cases it was just simply supported. Okay, now it's a continuous slab, so I'm taking 40 here. So 40 into 0.8. Why 0.8? Because of Fe415, it is HYSD bars, that means high yield strength deform bars. Now it is overall depth is coming to be 125 mm. As we know that it is only for 3.5 meter, but our length is 4 meters, so we can approximately increase by 20%. So we can go for up to 150 mm. So let us provide the overall depth of 150 mm. I'm repeating this again, that don't think that this is the only way of calculating this one. This is just assumption. This step is just a assumption step. Okay, so even if I say that I'm going to assume suppose 100 mm, I can proceed. But the thing is, you have to check it for deflection at the later stage. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you choose 100 mm initially, but you have to check for deflection as well as obviously moment, whether the moment it can take the moment or not. Okay, so it is just a way of calculating. So it doesn't say that you cannot go for means it is very high, very less. So I'm just telling you one simple step to find out. To it is suppose I'm taking 20%. Some designer might say, why to take 20%? It is obviously more, because in most of the buildings you will see, in general buildings, we go for a thickness of 110 mm or 100 mm, something like this. Okay, or say maximum of 120 mm, because it comes out to be safe. But this 120 or 20% I am taking, but it doesn't means that you have to always take 20%. You can also, if you think that it is basically it means exceeding, then you can even ignore this part. Okay, but the thing is, even if you ignore, even if you assume, that doesn't matter unless you check for the deflection. Okay, now let's go for, yeah, this one I have already discussed with you. What is the long side? The shorter side is generally taken LX, and the longer side is taken generally LY, right? This is the longer side. Okay, so I think you have already understood this. No need to, it is just a repetition what we have done in the previous class. So you have to find out the effective depth in the X and Y direction. I told you that as its shorter side, we will be having in the shorter side you will be having the reflection as sorry, the effective depth as the X, and in the longer side we will be having the Y. Okay. Okay, so obviously we have already discussed that what is the x. Dx is basically the distance up to, that means when you are providing the reinforcement in the shorter direction, you will provide the main, means the first reinforcement layer you will provide in the shorter direction. So in that case, the dx will be just overall depth minus the clear cover minus the up to the center of the reinforcement, we are assuming suppose 10 bars. So basically it is 125, and the next layer of bars, which is for the longitudinal in the longer side, you will be providing the reinforcement above the above the previous layer of the reinforcement. So in that case, the effective depth will be 115 So I think I have already discussed all this, so you will understand. So I'm going a little bit fast. So hence the effective spans of in the LX and LY directions, you can find out from the already you know that the effective length can be clear distance plus the effective depth, or the clear distance means center to center distance. So from that you can take the lesser one, so you can find out that LX can be 4.145 and LY is 5.135. So then we will go for finding out the ratio between Ly by Lx, as it is 1.237, which is less than 2. So obviously it is a two-way slab. Now we will go for the load calculations. It is similar that we have done in the previous class. So I'm going to skip it. Now the main thing of this class, how to check for the moment, that is the moment coefficients for a two-way slab. So in case of the previous class, we have looked for a simply supported slab, and here we will go for the restrained slab. Why it is called restrained, that I have already told you that it's an interior slab, right? So all the four sides will be restrained, so that is why we will be referring to table 26 of annexure D. And here you will see that there are different options available from 1 to 9. Okay, so let's see what's the table is for. So it is for bending moment coefficients for rectangular panel supported on four sides with provisions for torsions at the corner. Okay, so that means at the corner, if there is a provision for torsion, the torsion is going to happen. So when torsion is going to happen, when you are restricting the lifting of the corners of the slab, and also the four sides are supported, in that case you are going to take this particular table. So this table is perfect for us for the whatever condition we have adopted. So let's see the columns. This is for type of panels and a moment considered. So what are the means different panels, and when where you are finding out the moments, those are mentioned here. Suppose it's mentioned the interior panels, right? Our question is also for interior panels. So interior panels means what? All the four sides are supported. Then point 2 case 2 is for one short edge continuous. Suppose we have the slab which is 4 meter on one side and 5 meter on one side. Suppose it is something like the shorter edge is continuous. That means what? The all the four sides are supported. Sorry, all the four sides are like it is not continuous, only one side is continuous. Okay, so it will be just reverse of this. Sorry, this is just a reverse of this. That means if this is the slab, this is 4 meter, this is 5 meter, then this part is only continuous. That means we'll be having supports, means it will be continuous over this side. Okay, and it will be continuous over this side, so it will be something like this. The slab orientation probably something like, suppose these are the columns. So if I talk about this particular slab, so this particular slab, probably there are some beams or something like this. Okay, so in that case we have one short is continuous, so negative moment at the corner edge and a positive moment at the midspan we have to calculate. Then suppose one long edge is discontinuous. That means what? One long edge is discontinuous. That means all the other sides are continuous. Okay, that means if I draw it, we have a slab over here, and we also have slab over this side also. In that case, if I talk about this particular slab, here one long edge is discontinuous and all the other sides are continuous. Okay, so if this kind of the position of the slab, then we have to go for case number 3. And then suppose case number 4, two adjacent edges are discontinuous. Adjacent edges, suppose I am talking about the corner, suppose this one. Okay, suppose I'm talking about this particular slab. Here you can see this side and this side are discontinuous, then other four sides, other two sides are continuous. Okay, if this is the condition, this is a condition for corner slab basically. So in that case we have to consider case number 4. So like that we have all 9 different conditions are available. If I see the last one, say suppose all the 4 edges are discontinuous. Here all the 4 edges are discontinuous. That means what? You have only one slab. Okay, but the thing is the ends are restrained from lifting up, then only I'm going to use this table, right? Suppose we have beams over here where which is not allowing the slab to lifting upward. Okay, so all the 4 edges are discontinuous, so it is a single slab. So in that case it will be 9. So be careful about this table. I think it's not very tough, you will understand very easily. Then in everywhere you can see there are two types of movement. One is negative movement at the continuous edge and a positive movement at the midspan. That means what? The negative moment at the continuous edge. That means suppose this is the slab. Okay, so this edge is continuous, right? So if I draw the moment distribution diagram, a very suppose a small amount of negative moment will be developed over here, but it's a very negligible amount. So suppose I'm just ignoring it, then you will be having sagging moment, then again hogging moment, then again sagging moment, hogging moment, sagging moment, and here 0 suppose. Okay, so here you can see that you have negative moment. This is negative, this is positive, right? So at the continuous edge we have always negative moment, so that is why it is mentioned like negative moment at the continuous edge. Then we have positive moment at the midspan. So at the midspan we will be having sagging moment, which is denoted as positive, and hogging moment is represented as negative. So at the continuous edge we will be always having negative moment, so you will calculate the negative moment from these coefficients, and the positive moment will be always at the midspan, and you will calculate the positive moment like this from this coefficients. Okay, and here alpha x values are given 1, 2, 2, and you can find out the corresponding alpha x values. Okay, and alpha y values, the long span coefficients of alpha y values, you just take the ly by lx. For all ly by lx value you can find out negative moment at the continuous edge and the positive moment at the midspan. Okay, now let's go on calculating how to do the calculations or finding out the moments. So first of all you will see that there will be basically 4 types of moments, right? So one will be negative, means alpha x value, that means interior panels. Then the shorter span we will be having alpha x, that means mx, and here we will be having my. This is for longer edge, right? This is for longer, this is for shorter. So in the shorter edge we will be having 2 moments, and then in the longer side we will be having 2 moments, because we have 2 values, right? 2 values here, 2 values here. So we'll be having 4 different kind of movements available with us, and for all these movements you have to find out the reinforcement. Okay, so let's look into this. So negative moment alpha x values are here. Okay, so R value is already available. Ly by Lx it is 1.237. So correspondingly, if I want to find out a negative moment at the continuous edge, just look at the terms very carefully. The negative moments at the continuous edge. Okay, I'm talking about the hogging moment. How much hogging moment will develop? That moment I'm going to calculate. So for that, what I will do, correspondingly, the R1 value is 1.2, R2 value is, that means 1.3, and I want the in our case the R value, that is Ly by Lx value, is basically 1.237, right? So I have to interpolate in between two, what is the alpha x value. So you can see that 0.043, how it is coming. So it is from here, you can see 0.0 for 1.2. For one, for our case we have interior panel. For 1.2 we have 0.043, and 1.3 we have 0.047. In our case it is in between 1.2 and 1.3, so I have to interpolate in between these two to find out the moment coefficient for negative moment at the continuous edge. If I want to find out the positive moment at the midspan, I have to interpolate between 0.032 and 0.036. That is how we have to do this. And let's go for the calculation. So you can find out the alpha x end. I have denoted this as alpha x end because I'm talking about this is the coefficient at the end, or at the discontinuous, sorry, at the continuous edge. So it is 0.045, So R value you can find out here. Sorry. Now simple for positive moment at the midspan you can find out alpha x mid similarly, which is 0.034. It is 0.045 at the continuous edge, and this is for the midspan. Okay. So similarly you can calculate alpha y values. So basically here you know that for all ly by lx value it is a constant, so you can find out lyn, that means it is a for continuous edge, and ly mid, which is this one. So it is a negative and this is positive. Okay, this is negative moment, this is positive moment. So now let's calculate the moments. So moment per unit meter at the midsection in x and y direction. If I talk about both x and y direction, what is the moment at the midsection? So we can see here it is 6 point. You can use this equation alpha x mid w lx square. You probably remember both the cases you have to take lx, right? So you have to take lx. So those values are 6.72 and 4.793 kilonewton meter. So you can see that the moments are not very large moments, so basically will provide means the required reinforcement will be very less. The moment per unit meter at the end section or the continuous edge, you can find out mx end and my end in the both the direction I'm talking about, which is 0.089 and 0.6 point, sorry 8, this is 8.899 and this is 6.391. Now let us visualize where exactly these moments are acting. Okay, suppose this is our slab. Okay, so we have this edge. Okay, basically I think I should not draw this. Okay, so we have this one. Okay, so this is the ly and this is lx. Okay, so you can see that mx mid, that means at the mid section. So if I this is the interior panel, so how the moment diagram will look like? The moment diagram will look like something like this: negative moment here and negative moment here, right? And similarly here also you'll be having, okay, let me draw it in another color, suppose blue. So here also negative moment, positive moment, negative moment. So this is the negative portion, this is the negative motion, this is so this is along the shorter direction, this is along the longer direction. So what are the values over here? So if I talk about the blue color in the shorter side, the moment is something like this, right? Because the interior panel, obviously negative moment will develop. So mx mid in the x direction at the mid we have 6.702. Okay, and at the end section in the x direction we have 8.899. This is 8.899 and this is also 8.899. Okay, understood. Now suppose I'm talking about this longer direction. In the longer direction, if I see the moment diagram and if I want to find the values, the moment midsection my it is 4.794 and in the end section we have 6.391. Here also 6.391. So probably you have understood now how the actually the moment is distributed. Okay, so you have the hogging moment and you have the sagging moment over here. Now as the moment is already available with you, you can now find out the reinforcement and provide the reinforcement correspondingly. Okay. Now let's calculate the reinforcement. The reinforcement in the shorter side along x direction at the mid section. If I want to find out, this is the reinforcement I require. And if I take 10 bar, what moment spacing we require is 515. And if I find out the what is the minimum reinforcement or the maximum spacing we can go for, which is 375 and 300. So we if I provide suppose 200 center to center, we have a area of 392. We have what we have provided. So you can see that 392 and what is required for us is basically 100 something. So obviously you can see this 152, this is the required and we are providing 392. So this is obviously it is going to be safe. Okay, this is safe. Okay, then in the x direction at the end section, if I'm talking about, if I talk about then the required still will be around 204 mm square, and the spacing required for this area is around 384.613 mm. And if I provide 10 bar, suppose at a 200 mm center center, then we will see that area provided is 392, required is 200, so provided is around 400 square, so it is okay. Okay, so similarly you have to provide the reinforcement in the y direction also. In this y direction, similar calculation, you have to find a reinforcement at the center or as well as at the end or at the continuous edge. Okay, so I'm not going to discuss about this. I think you have understood, this is not a big deal. You just have the moment, you just need to find out the area. Now go for the deflection of the deflection check. You just find out the percentage of steel what you have provided, find out the fy. I've got it kt as around zero point 0.6 here, and it is very sorry, kt is not 0.6 over here, so you just remove, you just don't consider nothing. The thing is the fs value we getting 93.4 32, right? 93.432. I think there's a small mistake over here, so let me correct it. So we do not know the kt value over here, so this is 93. Okay, so here you can see that fs value is 93.435. Here fs, the graphs were available, the minimum is 120, so obviously that 93 graph will be somewhere over here, right? So it will go up to here, suppose some up to, if we extend it, it can go very high. So obviously that means the value of the multiplying factor will be very high, right? Very high, suppose it may be 4 times, 5 times also. So suppose it may, obviously it will become 4 times. So if I multiply the 4 times, so obviously the whatever deflection that I'm talking about, suppose it is 40, we are talking about, because L by D ratio is for 40 for slab, which is a continuous slab. In that case it will be multiplied with 4, it becomes 80. So obviously our ratio is obviously will be well under our limit, so deflection will not be a problem for us. Okay, so that is what I have written over here. So as it is clear from the graph that from 93.432 MPa, the value of multiplying factor will be very high. So it can be concluded that the deflection will not occur on the slab. Okay, probably this is clear. Then after this, basically we can go for the detailing of the slab. But here I want to discuss few clauses of the slab. So this is actually annexure D1. So I think I have already discussed with you what is mx, what is my, what is alpha x, alpha y, w, lx square, lx square. So I think I have discussed with you. So let's go for the clauses. So the 1.2 says slabs are considered as divided in each direction into middle strip and edge strip. Okay, this also I have discussed with you, the middle strip, edge strip, that I have also discussed. What is the middle strip here? What is the edge strip? This side also some middle strip, edge strip. I have shown the prefigure. Just you can see the just previously I've just discussed what is the edge strip, what is the middle strip. This is L by 8, this is L by, sorry, this is L by 8, this portion is L by 8, this portion is L by 8, this is 3L by 4, the middle portion. Okay, so that is already done. The maximum moment calculated as the 1.1 apply only in the middle strip and no restriction shall be made. Then tension, no redistribution should be made. So this is just after redistribution, you can say the coefficients has been derived. Then tension reinforcement provided at the midspan in the middle strip shall extend to the lower part of the slab to within 0.25 L of a continuous edge or 0.15 L of a discontinuous edge. What does it mean? This means that suppose you have, this is a slab section, we have provided some reinforcement at the bottom. Okay, this is a tension reinforcement. That now it is said that if the strip is continuous edge, suppose this is continuous, it is continuous, in that case this tension reinforcement should be extended up to a distance of 0.25 L. That means up to within 0.25 L. Okay, up to this distance you have to extend it, and or 0.15 L for discontinuous edge. Suppose this is discontinuous, in that case this distance is should be 0.15 L. That means up to what distance you have to extend. That is what that is restricted, or that is been given by this particular clause. Okay, this is only for tension reinforcement. That okay. Then over the continuous edge of a middle strip, the tension reinforcement shall extend in the upper part of the slab a distance of 0.15 L from the support, and at least 50% shall extend at a distance of 0.3 L. So it is mentioned here over a continuous edge of a middle strip. Okay, the tension reinforcement shall extend in the upper part of the slab to a distance of 0.15 L from the support, and at least 50% shall extend to a distance of 0.3 L. So that means what, suppose this is a continuous slab, here we have the edge over here. Okay, will be having negative moment over here, right? So we'll be having reinforcement at the top, and this reinforcement should be extended up to a distance of 0.15 L, and 50%, that means if one bar you are extending to 0.15 L, then the next bar should be extended to a distance of 0.3 L. Okay, that means one bar, if you are extending to 0.15 L, then the next bar should be extended to 0.35 0.3 L. Okay, so that is how the reinforcement should be given at the top, at the continuous edge. Then D 1.6 told that a discontinuous edge, the negative moment may arise. Okay, that they depend on the degree of fixity at the edge of the slab, but in general, tension reinforcement equal to 50% of that, provided the midspan extend to 0.1 L into the span, will be sufficient. So what does it mean? So if you see that, if you see very carefully the calculations that we have made, we have only the negative moment developed at the continuous edge is mentioned. Okay, only continuous edge. Means in the table also you will see that the negative moment at the continuous edge. But what about the discontinuous edge? What will happen there? So it has been mentioned that in the discontinuous edge also there might be some negative moment, but it will be very small. Okay, to take care of the small, no need to go for design. What you can do, you can 50% of the reinforcement whatever is provided at the midspan, that can provided at the top, and which can be extended to a distance of 0.1 L. Suppose this is the cross section of a continuous slab. Okay, so this is a continuous part, this is a discontinuous part. Then this reinforcement that you will give at the top over here, this length will be nothing but 0.1 L. And what is the area, total area here? It will be 50% of the what you have provided at the mid. Whatever reinforcement you have provided here, you can provide 50% of that to a distance of 0.1 L. Understood? Then the reinforcement in the edge strip parallel to the edge shall comply with the minimum given in the section 3 and requirement of the torsion reinforcement in D 1.8. So the whatever, that means we have edge strip and we have middle strip, right? I'm talking about edge strip and middle strip over here. So middle strip, okay, done. This clause is 1.6, the middle strip side. And what about the end strip, this part? So about the end strip, what is mentioned that you have to take care of the torsion. You have to provide torsional reinforcement. Okay, so the torsional reinforcement shall be provided at any corner where the slab is simply supported on both the edges meeting at the corner, or both the edges meeting at the corner. It shall consist of top and bottom reinforcement, each with layers of bar placed parallel to the sides of the slab and extending from edges a minimum distance of 1/5 of the shorter span. The area of the reinforcement in each of these four layers shall be 3/4 the area required for the maximum midspan moment in the slab. Okay, so what does it mean basically? So I will show you later, just in the next page. Okay, so see here, that I was talking about in a previous class also. I talked to you about the how 50% of the bar are cranked upward, right? Suppose this is the main bar, it is going in this direction. Okay, so up to how much distance you can extend it up to? Up to 0.15 L. But if you even extend it, then it's no issue, you can extend it. Then and the first bar is, suppose you can see it is cranked upward, it is going upward. the next bar it is going straight, then the next to next bar is cranked upward. So something like this, 50% will go down and 50% will be upward. Now another clause, just now we studied that whatever reinforcement you are giving at the top, so means half of the reinforcement should be extended to 0.15 L, right? I think this is not very clear. 0.15 L. Okay, so you can see over here this is up to 0.15 L, and other 50% should be extended to 0.3 L. 0.3 L, right? So 150% over here, one, then next to next bar you can provide a curtail bar which is up to a length of 0.3 L. Then the next bar will be obviously from the bar which is coming from the down, from the bottom reinforcement, it is coming up, so the spacing is 0.15 L, and the other 50%, that means whatever bar you are placing at the middle of this bars will be extended to 0.3 L. You can see very clearly here. Okay, this is one bar. So I think, yeah, you can see this bar is 0.15 L, the next to next bar is 0.3 L, then again 0.15 L, then again 0.3 L. So like this the reinforcements are placed. Another figure I have here, also you can see the how the machine is trying to crank the bar. So this is all the bars are the mid span, right? This is the edge strip, this is the edge strip, and this portion is middle strip, right? So here this portion you can see the one bar is cranked, other bar is left to be straight, then the next bar is cranked and other bar is straight. So like this actually the cranking is done. Okay, so now I was talking about basically the corner reinforcement. So you can see this corner. So what will happen, that you have already discussed, the torsion will develop. So how to provide the reinforcement at the torsion when if torsion is developed? So suppose you have the slab, then you will provide actually four layers of bars. How? This one, two layer of bar at the top and two layer of the bar at the bottom. Okay, so one layer this one, and suppose similar layer, two layer will be at the bottom. This is two layer, right? So, and what is the length of this bar? Length of this torsion reinforcement is L by 5. Okay, whatever length you have, if you divide it by 5, if it is ly, this is ly by 5, and this side it is lx by 5. Okay, and this all the four layers of bar, total area of the reinforcement should be 3/4 of the what you have provided at the mid. This is about 3/4 of the whatever area you have provided at the middle sections. But the thing is, the torsional reinforcement will be provided in which cases? Suppose you have the plan here, something like this. This is the plan of the building. It will be provided when at the corner, suppose this is the corner, you will provide here. Let me change the color. So you will provide one reinforcement over here. Then here also you can provide. If one two means it is connected, and but this side is free, you will have torsion. Then here also you can provide torsion reinforcement. Here also you can provide. Here also you can provide. Here also you can provide. Here, 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 here. But at this corners where all the four sides are continuous, there is no need to provide torsion reinforcement. Okay, so in our case we are designing an interior panel, so as this is an interior panel, no need to provide reinforcement, torsion reinforcement at the interior corners. Okay, so that is why for our problem we are not providing. But if the problem is something, suppose this slab is given for your designing the exam, then you have to calculate the torsional reinforcement. Okay, so I think I would give this as a homework to calculate the torsional reinforcement, or design a slab which is at a edge, or look for how to find out how to calculate the torsional reinforcement. I can again read it out. The torsional reinforcement shall be provided at any corner where the slab is simply supported on both edges meeting at the corner. Sorry, on, oh yeah, it shall consist of top and bottom reinforcement, each with layers of bars placed parallel to the sides of the bar, extending from the edge a minimum distance of 1/5. I told you 1/5 L by 5, and the area of the reinforcement in each of these four layers. Sorry, yeah, now it's mentioned. It is in each of the four, not all total. In each of the four layer, shall be 3/4, 3/4 of the area required for maximum midspan moment. Whatever maximum midspan moment, for whatever maximum midspan moment you will require the area, you take that, you take the 3/4, and that much of a reinforcement to be provided in each layer. So it is 3/4, then again another 3/4, then at the bottom layer another 3/4, and then this layer also another 3/4. So 3/4 of reinforcement to be provided. Okay, so I would suggest to design a slab and use this clause. Okay, this is your homework. So I think I have covered most of the part of this design, and I have not shown the drawing, so that is also your task to give the detail drawing of the slab, and go for the study these clauses very finely, and you will find that these clauses you might find a bit difficult, but if you see some videos or you see some pictures, or if you visit some sites, you will understand what this particular clauses means. Okay, so with this I would like to conclude today's class.